Hey guys, Nick here, and I want to talk about the Cuphead incident and the journalist who didn't quite do so well in the game. I think it's a very hot topic right now of whether or not game journalists should be good at video games, and I agree to a certain extent. Some people believe that game journalists have to be experts in the field and know every nook and cranny of a game before giving the review, and that's kind of where I draw the line. I don't really think that you have to be an expert, but I do think that you have to have a certain degree of competency to give your thoughts. So a video game journalist, at least a professional one, should have some basic knowledge about video games in general. Most of these journalists, at least how they appear to be tech writers first, and then jumping into video games. A tech writer knows a lot about the industry, can tell the ins and outs of like what's happening with EA or this small indie company, like what they're doing and their business model, and that's cool. But when it comes to actual video games, like I expect that a game journalist have at least the desire to learn how to play video games and actually put in the effort to get past at least the first level and tell me enough about the game so that it's convincing enough that I know what they're talking about. Now, I don't expect people to beat games. I've been a video game player for about 25 years, and I maybe defeated a handful of games, and I've played countless others, and I've given a lot of interest into the games, and it just boils down to how much time I have versus the level of interest that games have to keep me occupied for the amount of time that is required to beat them. So I mean, as far as I go, like I'm doing this game review channel part-time. I work a 40-hour work week. I fit in games where I can. I'm doing this video late at night because this is really the only time that I could fit it in. So for me, when I review games, I don't really put in the full effort that is required to complete a game. So there's this argument that video game journalists have to 100% or at least complete the main storyline to give you their valid opinion on whether or not a game is good, and I really don't think that's necessary. Take for instance Ikaruga for the GameCube. Now this game is difficult, and I don't have to play the entire game to tell you that. I can play the first level a couple of times to get the gameplay down and tell you whether or not the game mechanics are a factor in how difficult this game is, and also kind of give you the gist of what the story is and how the game works. Now, personally, I would complete the first level and then play a couple more just to get the feel for the game, and then give you my thoughts on experience, and then it's up to you, the viewer, to decide if the game is worthwhile to be playing or not. And that's just how I do my reviews, and I kind of, I guess, have a lower expectation for game journalists than most gamers, just because I know what goes into actually playing a game for reviewing versus playing it as entertainment. So let's take a story-driven game, for example, like Ni no Kuni. This is an RPG. The art style is very interesting. As far as I'm concerned, I've played it for a couple of hours and then I kind of just tossed it to the side because of the grinding aspect of it, and the gameplay mechanics are a little tough to get a hold of if you're not practicing all the time. I really think that even if it's a story-heavy game, we really shouldn't expect game journalists to 100% it, because what it ultimately boils down to is that this is a game. This isn't a movie where you're passively sitting down and just eating popcorn and watching the story unfold. I'm pretty sure that you can find all the cutscenes for this game on YouTube, and you can actually watch it right now, and that's it for the game. But I feel that it's important to focus on the gameplay more than it is the story, just because of how that gameplay affects your desire to continue on. A game could have an incredible story just tied to it, but if it has crap gameplay, I really doubt that the majority of people are going to want to play through it to get into the story to see how it ends. Like, again, like, you could just look it up on YouTube and be done with it. So I really think that, you know, video game players are expecting a little too much about game journalists in terms of that regard. So, and that's really my point. It's, you know, pretty cut and dry for me. I don't really expect you to be an expert in video games to give me your opinion on how a video game is. I do expect to have a basic understanding of how that game plays, and then for you to write a review that's convincing enough. And really, you know, us as gamers, we can really tell when you haven't played the game, or if you're just kind of looking at the box and kind of saying, oh, well, this game is following a boy named Oliver who enters in a beautiful, dangerous parallel world. I give it 5 out of 10 stars. You know, like, we're gonna see through that. So, game journalists, you know, I'm in your corner, but you guys gotta step up your game. Just play the game, at least have the desire to learn how to play the game, and give your honest opinion on it. Don't double down on saying that your bad gameplay was a social experiment, because that's bullshit. Like, it's BS, and you know, it's not going to fly when you have YouTubers and other game players where it's so easy to just create a blog and create a following, and really you're going to write yourself out of a job. So that's my video. I'd really like to hear what you guys think. What are your requirements for a game journalist? And do they need to 100% a game in order to give you their thoughts on it, or is, you know, 50% or 20% of the game good enough for you? Let me know in the comments down below. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you like my content, please subscribe. I'm Super Nintendo. Thanks for watching.